Always been fascinated with near-death experiences. At 5 years old, our guest, Jake Cooper, had one of those. Jake said to me earlier in the day, you can remember it like it was yesterday. Let's expand on that.
Absolutely. My near-death experience is something that I carry with me every day. It occurred when I was 5 years old, and I still remember it just like yesterday. Every part of it. Yeah.
Let's expand on that. Talk about what exactly happened. What do you remember about your near-death experience?
Absolutely, Howie. My near-death experience actually occurred in Levittown, New York. I was going to a park that day, and I went up on a slide like a normal day. I was trying to just have a fun time at the park, and all of a sudden, as I'm climbing up the slide, I kind of suffocate, and I try to breathe in again, then nothing came about it, and all of a sudden, every part of my body shut down, and my last part that I was on was my brain, and then my brain shut down. And eventually I was opened up to the spirit realm, and I really saw many different elements of it, and it was really cool.
What exactly did you see when you were in that near-death experience?
Great question. What I saw was I first was opened up to my two spiritual guides who, when I saw them, I knew them like that. They were like, I couldn't believe that I forgot about them. And then after seeing my two spirit guides, I was opened up to seeing thousands of angels in front of me, and they were just beautiful. And I think art does a great job at accurately depicting angels, because they were very, accurate from my mind from what I saw in art. And all of a sudden, I was opened up to my soul family, which I would love to chat about. They were really helpful in my experience amongst the trauma and the glory that I saw on the other side.
I've read about this in the past, that you see this light and tunnel. Is that something that you can remember happened to you?
Absolutely. When going into my experience, when I was suffocating and looking back on it, I had what's called whooping cough, which made my lungs kind of just shut down. When I was suffocating, I was drawn to a vista of colors, and in this darkness that I was in, I saw a light at the end of the tunnel, but I was racing at some insane speed at the light at the end of the tunnel. And there's many lessons behind the light at the end of the tunnel. One of them to me was the allegory that whatever you're going through, and God works in mysterious ways, whatever you're going through, there's always a light in your experience, and there's always hope, and that light is within, and it can never leave you. So the light was within when I reached that, and it allowed me to open up the door to the spirit realm.
Wow, pretty fascinating stuff. And talk about how that near-death experience changed your life, and about how in your lifetime now, it's part of you, and it's something that you work with other people on.
Absolutely. Well, my near-death experience, I not only saw previous lifetimes, but I saw what I would be doing in this lifetime, meaning I was able to almost transcend time and look into my own future. And in that, I saw what I would be doing. And part of what I was doing was that I was talking about this. And for me, that's one of my missions in life, because I had the option of staying with my relatives on the other side, or to go back onto the earth plane with my family. And so for me, my biggest mission is to provide comfort to those who have questions about death, and understand that there is nothing to fear, but also understand that when you come here on earth, you forget many of the magical experiences where you come from. So within you is a great magic, and you come from the other side. So my hope is to allow people to open up many of these energies that we talk about, and to be exposed to many energies on the other side, because that will allow people to really become mind, body, and spirit, and, fully connected.
Now, you have a website that talk about your website, and what exactly motivated you for having this website.
Absolutely. My website came because as a kid, I always used to look at websites, and I would be comfortable with certain kinds. And for me, my goal is to provide comfort in many ways, but through my website especially, I want it to be a comfortable place. But ultimately, my greatest goal is to provide the ultimate comfort with life's greatest questions. What happens when we die? And I think that when you have those answers, I wasn't one to turn it down and to hide in the closet. I was someone to me who it was very important to provide answers to those who had questions. So my website, is very much about giving information, knowledge, but also it's allowed people to understand and to follow where I give my presentations, my talks, my radio appearances, magazine articles. It's a way for people to join the family and to be a part of my ship as it started in the beginning about 2 months ago.
And for people who want to go, let's give the address of the website.
Absolutely. My address is www.jacobstory.com. That's JACOBSTORY.com. And you could reach me from there, and I have a contact button on the side, and you could reach me through that. So it's a great pleasure when people visit my website. I always love that.
Jake, you mentioned before that when you meet with people, it's almost like a 2-hour process. Talk about what goes on when you meet with people and talk about your experiences, and what's that 2-hour, what does it consist of?
Great question. That 2-hour conversation, a lot of that entails the in-depth of my near-death experience, but it also highlights what life has been like since I've had the other side. So I really go into a lot of my childhood and young adulthood of what it's been like, and I also talk about a lot of different out-of-body experiences that I've had. And my greatest pleasure within those talks is when people have questions and answers of what I specifically saw on the other side. And everything that I provide is all evidential, so all my answers are based on my own experience. I don't make anything up. So if there are answers that I have not experienced, I will not provide an answer, but I'll provide referrals to people that I know in the field that may provide such answers. So essentially it's a narrative where I get involved in my talk. It's what I've learned from it, which is great, and going forward, what people could take with it from them, and ultimately the Q&A, which is my favorite part, as I always say.
Now, we've had a lot of guests on this show. Through my 25 years of broadcasting, I've had thousands of guests, and a lot of times when I have a guest on the show, I really don't know their family. You're different. I've known you since you're a little baby. I know your mom and your dad and your brothers and sister very well. Talk about how your parents especially, have they been supportive of your experiences with this?
Absolutely. I provided my parents with a great test because I provided some, spiritual insights that they may not have practiced. But my parents, since day one, have really accepted me. Maybe they didn't understand, what I experienced. Maybe they didn't understand everything that I got involved in, but they are great people in that I think a great person wants the best for anybody. And for that person, they understand life path and understand that everyone's on a different path. Everyone's on a different mission, and it's within proper guidance to allow that. So my parents have really allowed me to blossom in my own way, almost like the wild bronco, to go in my own direction. That's been a good direction, though.